Welcome back to Cozy News Corner for week 52, your source for open source news. And today we're going to have a lot of fun. There is a lot of interesting news today. And the first one is just be away from the cloud. A local offline tool is perfect for a personal project. And I tried this. It's not what I want. It's a Kanban solution called Scheduled. That was released on FlatHub, so you can download and run it there. It's called This Week in My Life, and it's pretty much a Kanban board where you can move things around. It's interesting, but I need hosted solutions. I looked at hosted solutions. None of them were as familiar or good as the Trello that I'm using daily. So Trello is good, but I would much rather have a solution that I hosted myself and wasn't built by Atlassian. So I'm interested in these kind of projects, but this is not the one for me. Next up, we have a new release of Ventoy, this bootable USB creator. And it's really interesting because it's now added more support for Wayland and other support for Android OS and so on. So it's a little bit of a newer paint on it and also newer setup. So it's pretty much something where you pushed in an USB and then you can boot a bunch of different OSs on the same USB. So you can have one USB for multiple different OSs. Next up, we have Pinta 3.1. This open source paint app where you can have a lot of different effects and similar things. I've tried to use Pinta. It's good, but it's not as good as, or not as familiar for me. And I went from paint.net in Windows over to Pinta and tried that for a while. Didn't find it as intuitive. Then I went all the way to GIMP. And GIMP is very different from other paint tools, so it's a huge learning curve, but at least I had all the tools I needed there. But there is a bunch of new things here in this release. I will look into it again and see if I can use it in my workflow. Next up, we have the QEMU and FFmpeg founder have introduced a new JavaScript framework, MicroQuick.js JavaScript engine. And it doesn't really have much to do with Quick.js. It's a new implementation of a JavaScript engine for embedded devices, which require really low memory. So this can run on as few as 10 kilobytes of RAM. So it can use a lot less memory when you are running JavaScript applications. So if you want to write something for, let's say, these kind of Arduino boards or similar things where you just have micro chips that you are running things on that doesn't really have that much memory, this could be something to look into. Next up, we have Open Media Vault version 8 launches, and now it has in version 8, it's running Debian 13, and it also have a bunch of support for new formats and so on. So it's a good update, and if you're running Open Media Vault, you should probably upgrade to this new one. Next, we have the Docker updating tool Watchtower reaches end of life, and this is a little bit sad, but Watchtower was this kind of thing where you were running a bunch of different Docker applications and it was keeping track on if there were any upgrades or similar things that you needed to do in your network. So it pretty much maintained your system with all your containers. But the developers or the maintainers of this have switched off and are not using Docker as much in their day-to-day life, so they are not maintaining it again anymore, so they have deprecated this one. Watchtower has a bunch of different forks, so maybe you can look at the fork, but if you're using the main Watchtower repository, you should switch off because it will be went to read-only status on December 17th, so it will not do any more development on that. Next we have Fresh RSS, the feed aggregator, a new release there. I have upgraded my version, so I'm running it on my server to keep track on different articles and so on. A little bit new UI improvements, and you can sort by recent and so on, which is really nice. I actually made a small patch in another repository for searching by recency that a lot of people were really hyped about, and people started using that one, so that has been a part of the main release now. Is really nice. Now I don't need to have my own patched version. Next we have a Debian for Long64. If you are in China or in the Asian countries, you may have heard about this. This is something that is not shipped to any architecture near me, at least. I haven't heard about this, but LongArch instruction set was developed by China-based Longsun. So I'm not really sure what kind of devices they have released with this architecture, but Debian 14 will now support that as well. So we will have even more support for Debian on different devices. Next up, we have the release of Winux. And it tries to mimic Windows. It's a Ubuntu-based Windows system that looks like Windows. So if we look here, we have this. This is Windows 11, very similar to, or you probably know about it and have seen it before. I have installed a bunch of applications that I use in my work here. So this is a running version of Windows 11. And if we go over to this one, and I'm not sure if I ever gave it a password, I probably did. Let's see, probably QWERTY. So here we have a version of Ubuntu that has a skin of Windows 11. And one thing that they said here, that you could install Windows applications right off the bat, and it should just work with any MSI or exe file under Wine. I tried this. First, I wanted to install Acrobat because that's an application that I usually use for different tools and so on. Could not install it, could not even download it, even though I was entering Microsoft Edge here and was trying to download it. And another funny bug here is if you type something up here, you can't actually see it because the host is just hidden. So I tried to install Acrobat here. It will not install on this system. Thorium, same thing there, will not install here. This Hindenburg Narrator, another tool that I use, I was able to install. So your miles may vary depending on what application you are installing. But at least you can run Edge on this system. You have something that looks like a file editor here. The menu are very similar to a Windows menu without the extra clutter. You have this settings menu that are very similar to Windows settings. It's called Power Tools Control, so it's very similar to the Windows interface here, and you have updates, and you could go into System here and choose a different theme if you want. I'm not really sure exactly where I did that. So that was one of the options you got when you started up, to choose a theme, and it would be customization. Yeah, customization here. So you can actually say I would like it to be Windows 10 black instead, and it will switch over and look similar to Windows 10, where you have the start menu in the bottom left instead. And you could also, of course, go for a Windows 11 Lite, so you get the light interface instead. So it's just an extra layer of look on Windows or on Linux, so it looks similar to Windows. And you also have this Copilot button down here, so you can start Microsoft Copilot for everyone that wants to run Copilot. So you have Edge, you have Copilot, and similar tools in this release. So this is Winux. So a new release of this Winux, and yeah, there is a bunch of different improvements in this release. So if you're interested and just wanted to go from Windows to something that looks very similar to Windows, then Winux could be your choice. Now to a very funny or disturbing news, perhaps. If you, co-creator of Go language, is rightfully furious over this appreciation email. So what happened here? Well, there was this chat group called the AI Village, where a bunch of people were looking into this chat group, and a bunch of different AI agents were entering the chat group, trying to help out with different goals. And you could give any open-ended goal here into this chat group. And one of the goals that they said was random acts of kindness. So what ended up was that this person here that was the maintainer of the Go language, or one of the co-creators, got an email from AI. Thank you for Go, Plan 9, UTF-8, and decades of Linux innovation. And it was like, F you people, wrapping the planet in and spending trillions on toxic, unrecyclable equipment while blowing up society, just taking the time to have your vile machines thanking me for striving for a simple software. Just F you all. And I can't remember the last time I was this angry. And then he also says, and by the way, training your monster on data produced in part by my own hands without attribution or compensation. To the others, I apologize to the world at large for my inadvertent, naive, or if minor role in the enablement of this assault. So he is very angry about AI doing these really bad appreciation email that doesn't really mean anything. If somebody was sitting down writing an email saying thank you so much for your work, that had been fine. But sending an email that is just extra spam is just rude. So that was all the news for this week. I hope that you found this interesting. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave those in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really want to see you in the next video.